apologize. I fuck him, just leave him pissed. Hey, underlay, mommy, E-I. Uh-oh, what's poppin' now? Underlay, mommy, E-I. Uh-oh, if the head right, Nelly there. Underlay, mommy, E-I.
Too sweet. Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's the way you can follow a person on Twitter at the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports. You can listen to us on SoundCloud if you're watching us on YouTube by just doing everything in the link, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, Dwight.
Everything's in the description. What's up?
We're mainly an NFL show. That's kind of how this whole thing started. It started off a basketball conversation. Speaking of, basketball starts this week. Go Sixers. Good luck to your Lakers.
Definitely good luck to those Lakers because I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah.
But our first ever show was a NFL preview. Mm-hmm. And every year we talk about it, and especially since we've been doing this, I think it makes us more conscious of realizing how unpredictable from week to week the NFL is. Maybe at the end of the year you still get your one seeds in the Super Bowl. Maybe that happens. But if you look at it week to week, every single year it just gets unpredictable. To me seems like a much weirder year than usual, and we're only 6 weeks in.
Doesn't make any sense. It's a mess.
The last undefeated went down to a team that just threw five interceptions to the Jaguars. Well, the last team that was the last undefeated team to win the Super Bowl. You following along with that?
Yeah.
Was the 2006 Colts when Peyton Manning won it.
Damn. Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to think the Chiefs could go further. See, now one loss in, and I'm already hearing that people think that Alex Smith is not the MVP favorite anymore, and that he's average quarterback. And as it gets colder,
because those 5 wins don't mean anything.
As it gets colder, because 20 degrees colder, 15 degrees colder than any other game he's played in is at maximum last weekend. Like, it was fine.
Are these millennials that are saying this?
No,
Are these the same people that saying if you lose in boxing, like you're a scrub? Like, are they the same people?
No, but
I feel like they probably are.
And it's to a team that literally just lost to the Jaguars after throwing 5 interceptions to them. So, like...
Right, exactly.
Speaking of the Steelers...
You're not... breaking news.
Did we not say last week about how wouldn't it be so Steelers to win that game?
Yeah.
And it was so Steelers to win that game.
I mean, neither one of us picked them, but we did. Literally, we said we would not be surprised, which...
That's incredible. Are they still a top team in the AFC to you? Like a top 3 team in the AFC, like you have, because we said before the season that it would be New England and Pittsburgh, and then everyone else in the AFC. I think now we can clearly say Kansas City is in that.
Yeah. Kansas City, New England, Pittsburgh.
Those are the 3 teams you would pick in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, because back to that previous point. Breaking news: teams don't go undefeated and win a Super Bowl. How long do we win?
Right. Yeah.
It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. You're gonna lose, but definitely Pittsburgh's still in that mix. I would definitely have. Kansas City in that conversation as well, and you can never knock out New England. So definitely I would say those are the top 3 out.
There's no other AFC team that you would throw in there.
Not even close. Not even close.
Houston,
it's those 3 in the field.
Houston. I'm trying to think of the top teams in
they'd be number 1 in the field. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I'm just trying to think of teams. If Oakland can get their groove back, I mean, Carr played last week. Tennessee just put up 33 on Monday night.
Let's go back to Oakland. Oakland was my Super Bowl pick, but right now...
But that was the first game Carr came back in with a back injury.
Right, but they've just been looking a little spotty.
A back injury is not good. A back injury is not good for Carr, so we'll see if he can get better than that. They just lost to the Chargers last week.
If they get it back together, then it's a 4-team conversation.
I'm trying to think of other AFC teams that... I guess that's... Jacksonville? I mean, Jacksonville played the Rams tough, and they beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Their defense does look good. Their offense kind of seems legit, but sometimes the Blake Bortles scares me.
They're a wild card team, but no.
I mean, see, this is obviously 6 weeks in. New England, this is the year to pounce on New England. But then you have Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and like I said, Houston, I guess, like you said also as well. Is Houston right there? Is that it? Is that your 4 teams that has the best chance to beat New England?
I didn't even think about Oakland, so...
Denver? I mean, Denver just lost their quarterback, and they just lost to the Giants at home.
If Oakland gets their stuff together, I will say, not in no order, Oakland, New England, Kansas City.
Tennessee sneak in there? 33 points on Monday night.
That's the thing. It's
21 of those 33 were in the second half.
It's like 3 or 4 teams, and then it's a field. And the field is decent, but it's not enough to compete with those 3 or 4 teams.
It works itself out. Well, there's 10 games to go for most teams, 11 for some, for the teams that had a bye already. But
let's put it this way. It should be a good wild card round.
Okay.
that's the best way I can put it. The AFC is stacked with teams that could make it interesting. Yeah.
Kansas City has a short week. They're playing Oakland, so that gives us kind of an idea on Thursday about maybe where both those teams are.
Right.
But back to the original point. You had Pittsburgh as still a top team.
Yeah, they're in there. Always.
Their defense. I can't say enough 6 weeks in about how we talked about how in preseason about them maybe getting better and how much better they are. Ben made a joke at the end of the game last week. Maybe I got a little bit left in this.
Pittsburgh's good as long as Ben's off his period.
So
I'm just saying. He's such a moody female. No offense to our female fans, but
look.
I mean, he's such a female. Is he not? He's such an attention whore.
You know I've never been the
woe
biggest...
is me. Oh, I had a bad week. I guess he's Eeyore. He's more Eeyore than a female.
You know I've never been the biggest Ben Roethlisberger
Please
fan.
feel bad for me. Oh, please. Oh, I guess I don't have it anymore.
I think he's always played a little bit of the...
And it's annoying.
You know Paul Pierce. He's played the Paul Pierce... look, I need to get carted off of the court, but I'm going to come back and win the game anyways.
Right.
Like that
Pierce did it one time, but
but I'm saying,
that's his career.
My point being is like Ben's always played into that. Oh
Yeah,
yes,
that's his career.
My shoulder actually was pretty bad on that play. Remember how he's holding his shoulder sometimes, or his ankle, or his knee, or there's something in the playoff game last year against Miami. He had one of those situations. It's always that, and that's always been Ben Roethlisberger.
Just stop. Just go out there, do your thing.
Always has his
be
team.
you, and everything will be cool. Like, if you have a bad game, it is what it is. You had a bad game. The end. There's no need for all this extra shit.
Last Super Bowl was what, 2007 though? 2008?
Last appearance or victory?
Last victory. They lost to the Packers in 2011. That's their last appearance. But their last appearance.
No, they beat the Cardinals.
Their last appearance was 6 years ago. They lost to the Packers. Yeah, they beat the Cardinals in 2008, I think it was.
Yes.
So almost 10 years ago was the last time they won the Super Bowl, and then they beat
10 years
the Seahawks
really
in 2005.
Jesus.
Almost 13 years ago, 14 years ago. So okay, my point being is, and they've always been in the top 5 teams,
always,
but
always. Yeah.
With Ben being that way, him talking the way he's talking about with retirement, we talked about before the year them maybe possibly trying to get a quarterback for the future. Do you think it would be a wise decision now, seeing with 6 games in the collective, to go back to the conversation we had before the year, a collective 6 games in, the 2 games they lost was one against Chicago in Chicago, which is it was on a weird week, and then the Jacksonville game, which Ben Roethlisberger's not going to throw 5 interceptions probably ever again in his career.
That's the only time he ever did it.
So my point being is,
should they start looking
this offseason? Just to replace the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. You don't get that. You don't get Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. You don't get Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. So to think you're going to go from Ben Roethlisberger to Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers is all but insane to think. But your best opportunity to do that is to do it in the way that Green Bay did it if Ben Roethlisberger is going to play another year at least.
I mean, to your point, I mean, you're not necessarily going to replace him, but I mean, if he's... I'm not even talking about...
Not what he's meant to your franchise, but your franchise is very good overall and consistent. And even outside the quarterback position, they always keep consistent players. They seem to be always pretty valuable at every position. And I feel like there is a way to... No, you're not going to go from Ben and maybe what he did for you as a franchise quarterback. But you might go to a guy who can hold you up long enough with the team if they continue... Because they've established they're very good GM. They have very good ownership. They're coaching the whole way down. I mean, the Steelers are... You that's the franchise you try to model yourself after if it's not the Patriots in almost that sense. So... To think that they couldn't just figure out a quarter... Look, but Ben Roethlisberger went to Miami, Ohio, and they got him in, the 3rd round? So it's not like they can't go out and, I guess, do that again. But they can't really go out and do that again. So you got to do what closest thing to it. This offseason might not be a bad idea to start looking, at least.
I mean, if I'm the Steelers organization, I mean, you can't look at his bad games or bad game and say, that's who he is. But I mean, at this point...
With 1 week, 2 week, 3, and then he had that really bad game, week 5.
I would just... Honestly, if I'm the Steelers organization, if this is just a bad year, I'm ignoring that. And I more so would look at it as just, he's such, basically...
Valuable.
That's not, well, yes, but that's not where I'm going. He's such a diva and such a, woe is me, and such a, maybe this is the time.
He might just pick up and leave.
Maybe he will. Yourself. Maybe it's time. So to answer your question, from the organization perspective, maybe this offseason is like, you know what? Maybe it's time to just try to figure it out. You're not going to replace him.
They scored, 24 points or 23 points last week? Not to take anything away from Antonio Brown. It was a ridiculous catch off the helmet of the defender. But point being is...
I could throw it at Antonio Brown.
The play of the game is Ben Roethlisberger throwing it directly to a defender.
Right.
And 10 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, that's either a pick or just bat it down. That just happened to be the 11th out of 10 times, the exception that you never see. But... They didn't score that many points offensively. They haven't all year. Their defense has been really more carrying them without their running game because Bell looked like a monster.
Always does.
Bell looked like a monster on Sunday.
So it kind of looks like the only thing he's missing is...
It might be him. It's something to watch. It's only 6 weeks in. It's only 6 weeks in.
I'm still not ready to jump off the Ben situation, but if I'm the organization, like I said, if this is what's going to keep going, if this is the trend, then from an organizational perspective, I'm looking at what we got, which is just talent, and we got something that can go to a Super Bowl, if not win one. Maybe it's time to just start looking, start laying the foundation of moving on.
To round it out,
especially the way as fickle as Ben is these days.
To round it out with Kansas City,
he's worse than. Can we just get him the cam towel? Just put it on his head and play a violin while he has the cam towel. Oh, I used to.
To round it out with Kansas City really fast.
Oh, woe is me. Such a.
To round it out with Kansas City really fast, a lot of people are saying that, like I said about the Alex Smith not being MVP again. Look, there's 10 games left. If he can beat Denver, he can beat Denver in one of those 2 games, and he can put a bunch of yards up in the one win, and they can win 6 of these 10 or 7 of these 10, and he can put up near the numbers that he's been putting up.
Right.
I think they win. I think he can win the MVP still pretty easily.
Yeah, definitely. I just can't stand this week-to-week stuff. Like, people need to...
That's how it is. It's annoying.
I know.
You and I never
this
are.
Monday morning,
we try to
It's
be,
not even a Monday morning quarterback anymore.
No, because now they do it all week.
Right,
they do
it's
it literally
a weekly
all
thing.
week.
Weekly. And it's so annoying.
And you and I try to look at the bigger picture. You and I
You kind of have to, but at the
to.
same time, you have to...
You have to be within reason, though.
Yeah.
You still have to take the 5 weeks. Maybe you don't have to take the last 5 years or last year at all, because I usually don't. But the last 5 weeks mean something going into this week.
It almost comes full circle, and I'm just going out there.
Yeah.
It almost comes full circle with the whole me saying, calm down with, this is the next great thing, this is the next great, like rookies and shit, the next great and shit. While I'm saying, let's just pump the brakes and wait. Unfortunately, with the NFL, we do not know, not us, but
anybody.
Society doesn't seem to know how to really just pump the brakes and just wait and see, and it's so annoying.
No, one big play.
We try not to, but
how about
it's going to happen from time to time. But
I saw on Facebook
this week to week stuff is just
I saw on Facebook this week from a Minnesota fan catch of the week. Catch of the year. I saw from a Pittsburgh fan catch of the year, and then I saw from a Tampa Bay fan catch of the year.
I'm sorry, Cole Beasley behind. With the one,
I laughed. But did you see the Minnesota one? Because the Minnesota one's right there, as good as that, where he just turns around and he literally. It was a super impressive catch. It's as good as the Cole Beasley one. Okay. My point being is, I saw 3 different people say catch of the year on the same Sunday, and I started laughing. To your point,
we're in the moment. It's always in the moment.
It is too much. It is too much.
This is why I always say, and just in general, pump the brakes on things. Like, let's just breathe for 5 seconds and come back to it. But we don't do that. And the Steelers are a prime example of that. The Chiefs are a prime example of that.
I know you don't get to watch as much football as you'd like, but
that's gross.
But you get to watch the Thursday night game.
That's grosser.
And the last Thursday night game was pretty good. This upcoming Thursday night game might be pretty good.
Was this going to be the 3rd week in a row that's going to be decent? What is going on there? What is going on?
But let's talk about this last one.
So you're saying Rodger Goodell and the people to make the schedule watch our show because clearly...
They like you.
I appreciate you, Rodger Goodell. You know what, all that stuff I said about you, you know what? I'll let the Ezekiel thing slide and we'll get to that. I'll let it slide.
Hey, you know what?
You ain't no jive turkey no more.
I'll be right behind his wife on Twitter talking about how great he is on another fake account. This is my burner account. He's gonna start putting bad games on Thursday. That's my bad.
Can we not talk about that?
That's my bad. That's my bad. He's gonna. That's my bad. That's my bad. Roger's about to get mad at you for my saying that's Rodger. I said it, not him.
Rodger,
I said it, not him.
I don't want to disrespect another man's wife, but I mean, really.
I mean,
really.
Maybe she been hanging out with KD. Did you see Joel Embiid?
Like, I'm better with it when it's Skip doing Skip or when it's KD doing KD.
Joel Embiid, did you see Joel Embiid
when somebody's wife doing it?
Did you see Joel Embiid come at Whiteside and then he tweeted, "Oh snap, I meant to write this from my burner account."
That was funny. Joel Embiid is funny. He's funny. He's funny.
It is funny.
As
a Sixers fan, I'm a little about it, but
he was joking.
I know he was. Funny. Whiteside got really upset about that though, and I know Joel.
Why were they beefing?
Joel Embiid was joking.
Didn't Whiteside come at him first?
And then he got he got 3
okay,
fouls in the first minute.
time
He got
out, time
taken
out.
out, and Joel Embiid said he said you can't guard me as he was walking off the court, and that's what started this whole
And
thing.
Whiteside was correct in saying, I hope you actually play when we play.
Right, I don't
There you go.
disagree with that.
Okay, so then why did Embiid get up in his feelings and respond back to that?
Because within a minute he scored 4 points on him and made him foul 3 times.
And you know what? Okay, we can't talk about this. We'll talk about this. Let's add Sixers to the NBA conversation because I got a little gripe with Joel Embiid actually.
We can do that.
And we're not doing that right
So
now.
speaking of Philadelphia though, Thursday night,
Gross. Yes.
the Eagles.
Speaking of overreaction and needing to pipe down,
I can't be a little excited.
no, I wasn't gonna say you.
I was gonna say, you know, I'm at least a
no,
little
that was
excited.
it was a good game. It was a good victory.
It was fun.
Yeah.
The front seven looks as good on both sides that I said they were going to. I knew that the offensive line was going to look good. I knew the defense of line was going to look good. Not just
Right.
in this game. I'm talking about all year long.
Yeah.
6 games in, they have been as good as they. And as I said, there was Vatai.
They don't allow points on board. Yes.
Vatai
Secondary still
got
sucks,
beat
but-
got beat early in that game by Julius Peppers, but he played a really good rest of the game. And Lane Johnson's going to come back. And he's going to replace that. So for them to even win a game without Lane Johnson, a road game without Lane Johnson against the winning team,
Right.
that was a good step for the Eagles for the maturation of this team as the young quarterback. I think Carson looked pretty good. Cam looked really good. Cam literally.
It's all right.
Okay,
It
did you
looked
watch
like-
it the whole
Yes,
game?
yes.
Okay, so
Well, up until
Right.
the last quarter when I passed out.
did you see his touchdown from the 4-yard line that they didn't call a touchdown? He dove from the 4-yard line, went across,
No,
but
I don't think I saw
they didn't have the camera
Whenever
angle
that
right.
was.
He scored. It was in the middle of the 4th. He scored. I think it was a touchdown. They called it no touchdown. He scored on the next play, anyways. Point being is, I was watching the game with my girlfriend. I'm just teaching my girlfriend football now, right? And she kind of knows how much I like Cam Newton, but she doesn't
Shout out to
really.
you.
She doesn't really know necessarily how much I really like Cam Newton. She knows I love the Eagles, right? So we're watching
Watches
the
the show every week. She should know by now.
we're watching the Eagles in the Carolina game, right? And
I
she
need to
knows
have a conversation with her.
she knows how
I'm not
hard
gonna
this is.
put the situation on blast right now. But there's there's like a list, and we've talked about this list. I mean, you watch her show, so you know. I'm gonna talk to her right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
But there's a list of like 4. Well, there's 2 lists. There's a list where
Things I like.
there's things you like, which Cam Newton's like top 3 of that. And then there's a list.
Definitely.
There's trigger word list, and Cam is also
Probably.
top 3 in that list as well.
Most likely.
It goes like the top 3 in no particular order
Okay.
is Notre Dame, Philadelphia, Cam Newton.
Probably.
So you
Probably.
should get familiar with that.
And for bonus points, you can throw LeBron James on.
Correct.
So, back to Cam and the Eagles. So we're watching the game, and she knows how excited I am about the Eagles, right? And she knows
Right.
I'm all in and like a little nervous about what's going on here. And at one point we start talking, and she goes, well, why is number 1 for the other team doing everything for his offense right now? And I started laughing.
You did correct. That was funny.
I've been trying to explain this to people for a long time, that Cam Newton legitimately is doing everything for his offense. Like, he does everything for that offense, and in that game, he did everything for his
I'm
offense.
laughing because it's true.
And I woke up the next day and I saw nothing about how. All I saw was how bad Cam Newton was, and I was like, wait a second. Like, I just watched a 60-minute. I watched snap. I watched kickoff to the last second of the game, and I
And
literally.
he's garbage too now, huh?
He had 3 bad passes. One was picked off. Another one
What's he
was
supposed
super
to
errant.
do? What
He had 3 bad passes in the entire game. Like, Cam, legitimately, I get on him when he does bad. I am the first person to say he is inaccurate, he's this, he isn't this. He was very good on Thursday night. They lost the football game, too. Look, as an Eagles fan, I'm happy to be able to say what looked like a better team. But
Against that team, yeah.
and I think both teams are very good. Like, the Panthers, that's only their 2nd loss.
I can't say the Panthers as a team is very good. I'll say Cam's very good.
But the Panthers won. Right, okay, but they went on the road and they beat Detroit. They went on the now Detroit
Correct.
that looks
Right.
a little less good right now. So does the New England road
Right.
win. Looks a little less good right now.
So it's good.
But-
It's good. But you would more so still say it was Cam.
Their 2 losses are to Buffalo, or no, they beat Buffalo. So their 2 losses are to who? To Philly, and who's their other loss to? They had another loss. Anyways, point being,
Right. Go ahead.
point being, Cam Newton has done everything for their offense.
Definitely.
Jonathan Stewart has. They need to be able to run more. They need to be like Cam's the only one running. Also on the defensive side of the ball for the Eagles, I thoroughly enjoyed the way their secondary played, and they're only going to get healthier. Sidney Jones is going to come back, and Darby's going to come back. So I don't know. We'll see. The front 7 looks good. Did you see Vinny Curry in the first quarter on the first interception where Cam got his offensive lineman thrown into him? I mean, that was just pure strength by Vinny Curry.
Yeah,
If he can
right.
play like that game in and game out, what do you do? Like that is an X factor that I legitimately don't know outside of the Rams how many people have a player that's dominant on the defense side of the ball. Fletcher Cox can play like that. Like that was the legit difference between the weeks before.
It's a great player.
Yes, and they paid him a lot of money a couple years ago, and they ended up being right on that because that was something that a lot of people criticized.
That was a big difference.
So if he can play like that all season long, obviously it makes their defense 10 times better, and it doesn't matter how weak they are in the secondary because their secondary is going to look better. They rush with front four, and they got pressure. If they can do that all year long, with Sidney Jones coming back and Darby coming back, they have a shot. But my point being is they need to be able to get to the passer with just the front four, or else it's going to all implode because their back end obviously is their weakest part.
I might give you the front seven. I don't buy the secondary.
No, I don't buy the secondary either. It's just
if
they're getting to the quarterback, that's the only thing. As long as they continue to get to the quarterback with just 4 rushers, if they have to start blitzing, it's all bets are off. That secondary will not be able to cover one-on-one. I understand.
I mean, regardless, even if that's the situation, I don't buy the situation just in general, just because it's garbage.
The offense is finally finding its groove too. The offensive line, like I said, with Lane Johnson being out,
the offense has been
right.
decent.
But I'm saying is like they are showing consistent. It's not just 1 week this, and the next week this, the next week that, the next week this. They are week in and week out.
Wentz has been consistent.
He's right up there. I think he would have to be in the top 3 of MVP.
Negative.
He's
gonna stop
as of today.
Pump the brakes. No.
Are you ready?
No.
As of today, he's the odds-on favorite from Vegas. If the season ended right now, they said that
bump Vegas.
I mean, Vegas is usually right, but I wouldn't have him as the MVP. I would still have Alex Smith. I'm on record by saying I would still have Alex Smith. I'm just saying I would have Carson Wentz in the conversation. They are 5-1.
No, we had this conversation last week. Yeah, he's in the conversation like it's like whatever 2 or 3, but he's below that. But he's not a favorite. No, stop it.
He is the favorite in Vegas.
Well, that's. Shouts to Vegas. By the way,
I think Kansas City is still the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
By the way, Carolina's other loss was to New Orleans.
That's right. At home, they got destroyed by New Orleans in that game.
Division rival. That's a division rival. So
the NFL is so weird.
The NFL is ridiculous this year. The NFL makes no sense this year. It's a hot mess. Can we just agree that the NFL is a hot mess this year?
Yeah, you want to add in on this hot mess? I got something to throw some fire on this hot mess.
What's the hot mess?
Injuries. Odell's out for the season.
Hot mess.
JJ's out for the season.
JJ's out.
So we have one of the top wide receivers out for the season. We have one of the top defensive players out for the season. So how else do you top it? Have literally one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the entire league out for the season. Aaron Rodgers.
At this point.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And he was in the MVP conversation without question, just as good as Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just as good as Alex Smith and Carson Wentz.
Rest in peace to Dwight and Jen's fantasy teams.
Aaron Rodgers, my man.
Shout out to me though, because I got Aaron Rodgers as my starting quarterback in my fantasy team, and then I got Derek Carr, Mr. Rumbleback, as my backup. RIP my fantasy team. Yeah, I mean, what can you say, man? It was a clean hit. It was a regular tackle. Just nothing to say about it. It's just a freak accident. It sucks. It's good. It's good for. I'll tell you what. If Dallas can make the playoffs, or if Philly makes the playoffs,
without Atlanta just got a break.
Everybody just won.
Everybody in the NFC just got a break.
Everybody just won.
It just
my immediate. I'll tell you what. When I found out, my immediate reaction was, "Damn, it kind of sucks for my fantasy." And I was like, "Oh wait, if Dallas actually makes the playoffs, we don't have to worry about him."
Right. So we
actually might make the Super Bowl if we can get in the playoffs.
Last week when I was looking at the standings about who would be where, the Eagles would have been second seed to Green Bay, right? Green Bay would have been the number 1 seed.
Gift.
This Eagles would have been second seed, and everything I was looking at, I was like, man, I really think the Eagles can beat everybody in the NFC. But Green Bay was definitely the scare, obviously,
because of the one man just went down.
And then he went down. I was like, I think the Eagles
legitimately so we were on the same level. We were like,
beat anybody in the NFC.
We can still make the Super Bowl. We were on the same level.
There's a real shot.
Right.
And the Eagles obviously go to the number 1 seed just due to record right now because the Green Bay lost the game. So
that's how garbage the NFC is, I'm just saying. But yeah.
So point being is 6 games in, boom. This NFC that we thought was really tight and was wide open just got even more wide open because the Packers went out of it.
It was already wide open, and now it's going to be.
I mean, I just said about Atlanta. Atlanta was up 17-0 at halftime and lost 20-17 to Miami this weekend.
So wait, Atlanta blew another lead? Another lead.
Do you know who has the most?
To who?
Miami. Do you know
Who's the quarterback?
Jay Cutler.
How many cigarettes did he go through in that game?
They got Jay Cutler to do a fist pump like this after he scored the last touchdown. I don't know what's more disturbing.
So he had a patch on his neck?
I don't know.
He wasn't really smoking that game?
I don't know what's more disturbing, that the Dolphins came back and won from being down 17, or that Jay Cutler showed emotion. I can't figure out what I'm more disturbed by.
They did it for the line coach? Was it in his honor?
Get it, because he's a line coach. So
I'm going to leave those jokes alone. We already touched on them.
I just remember before the season I said about how, and you kind of gave me the Dwight the when I said about Matt Ryan, and you thought I was
I gave you the what?
You thought I was disrespected.
Wait, what side did I give you?
When you give me the extra like you
Is
always
that a Michael Jackson?
I don't know. You just always give me like this extra, like you give me like this look. It's like extra. I can just see like the Batman, like the pow and like that kind of stuff just popping up around you when you do it right. My point being is when I said about Matt Ryan, because I said that Matt Ryan, I don't think that he's a top tier quarterback, but I think he's in like second, maybe like the middle of second tier.
I see why I went.
Most double-digit blown leads as a quarterback in the NFL.
And is
Matt
that him or the defense? Because they were up, so I mean he was up by double digits.
And then Donovan McNabb.
So that tells me it's not necessarily. I mean, yeah, it goes on the quarterback because you the star player, you are the guy. But that tells me his defense is holding it their end because I was up, bro. What do you want me to do about it?
In the last 4 years,
I put up 28 points. I lost.
They've been up double digits.
They've lost
by being up double digits. I think it's like 7 times without not even counting the Super Bowl.
I put up 28. You can say, okay, go put up more points. Okay, fair enough. But I mean, if I blew a 28 to whatever lead, then
put up 17 against Miami. So,
sounds like my defense sucks.
But they also didn't score at all in the second half.
I see why the Batman thing came on because that doesn't make sense to me. I'm saying, okay, if I put up 28 points, right? Mm-hmm. How is that on me?
Well, he put up 21. One was a pick six.
One instance. If I put up a pick six, I'm up 21. Okay, now that's 21-7. How's the rest on me?
Well, when the game was tight in the fourth quarter, he did not do his part in that Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah,
you could absolutely,
in that situation, yeah, definitely. I'm saying in general, though, you saying all these leads that they blown.
Well, he threw an interception in the fourth quarter of this game.
These are leads that they had because of me. If I'm Matt Ryan, we had those leads, but yeah. He didn't have 3 pick sixes to make it 21-21.
No, I understand that. But he also had an interception when the game was 20-17 inside the red zone.
Yep, that's
he also last year in the Super Bowl when they had a chance to come back, he did not have his best quarter. Look, he had a very good first half.
It's called not being clutch. Yeah, I hear you, LeBron. I get it. So then that's the situation.
I think LeBron's clutch.
He's not.
2012, Miami versus Boston, down 3-2 in the series.
What have you done for me lately? I just got my thing.
9 straight final appearances. What have you done for me lately, LeBron?
He's not. That doesn't make you clutch.
Not, but well.
I love how you redefine the definition of clutch because I saw you tweet that. You redefine the definition of clutch. That is not the definition of clutch. Definition
I didn't
of clutch.
tweet anything about his finals. I tweeted about
you tweeted about being clutch. He's not clutch though.
Because you redefine the Boston one. It was actually the same exact one.
Right.
But you could also look at the Pistons series.
One instance makes you Tony Romo do for 500 yards one game or whatever it was.
He is the most.
Does that make him clutch? Does that make Tony Romo
LeBron has
quarterback?
I think that Tony Romo gets a horrible rap. I think that it just happened to be in the big games that he ended up having the best.
What was it? 400 yards.
We've had this conversation. I think that Tony Romo absolutely gets the worst rap, and I think he was way more clutch than he gets. So I think. Yeah, very good.
That's ridiculous.
Except LeBron actually has won a couple championships. That's the only difference between those two.
Time out. Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But my point is, you could
LeBron
throw.
Has the most
time out. You can throw. My point is saying Tony Romo. You can throw a great game on anybody. That doesn't define your career.
LeBron has multiple great games, like plenty, more than multiple.
He does have multiple clutch games. No, he does not. We can always name the one. We can always name it when he was 19 and he did it against.
He's played in 13 game sevens. Look at his numbers in all of those game sevens. Like that's.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when in recent history. Yes, in recent history he's gotten better.
Career.
Yes, he's gotten
also
better.
Never lost in the first round. You could throw all of this on here. Like
knock it off.
Anyways,
Keep redefining definition of
Aaron
clutch,
Rodgers,
bro.
does this hurt? Does this end Green Bay's season?
Is that a conversation?
Well, we never got back to it, and I did want to ask. Do you think it ends Green Bay's season? Because
I don't
Hundley,
think that needs to be asked.
when he got hurt in
Yeah.
2013, they were
Yeah.
not expecting, like, obviously they had no plan. It wasn't Scott Tolzien their quarterback, and they ended up just tanking completely really bad. So Hundley, they've been trying to groom for 3 years. I don't think that he is the guy that's going to obviously do it.
He's going to be...
He'll be
Stop.
all right.
Skirt. No.
He didn't look garbage. He didn't look garbage on Sunday.
No. Stop. Don't defend this man. Which I hope he does well. But
Right.
stop. He's going to be the epitome of... He's going to be the counter argument to the Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre thing. And I look forward to that. Because everybody says, oh, you know how they always say, oh, put a young quarterback behind this great veteran. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be destined for stardom.
No. We had this conversation
Right.
with Ben Roethlisberger.
And
I think it's going to be impossible to replace Ben Roethlisberger. Like, that doesn't happen every day.
That's what I'm
of the
saying. This dude who Hundley is going to be the definition of that. He's going to counteract the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre thing. He's going to show that it doesn't necessarily matter. He's been on the sideline for 3 years, been studying the playbook and all this nonsense that
following Rodgers.
everybody says that it did so well for Aaron Rodgers. Why doesn't it work for anybody?
I don't think
Everybody
it's gonna
else.
work for everybody. You need to have a skill set Aaron Rodgers has.
This is what people say. This is the conversation everybody's had since Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. I'm just glad that finally, potentially, we're going to have a situation where it's going to counteract that and everybody's going to have to shut up about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're going to be destined for greatness. It doesn't mean that you're prepared and ready. You've been sitting on your ass for 3 years. That doesn't mean you're ready. Yeah, you've been behind this great, and you've probably learned a ton, more than you ever will.
Let's try to
That
take it
doesn't
out
mean
of the
you're ready.
scope of just. Let's try to take it out of the
When's the
scope
last time
of
we threw a
just-
pass?
I don't know. If
Week
he's ever
4 of the
done it.
preseason?
Yeah, and he did all right.
Right.
And he didn't do great in this game when he came in.
No.
Let me try to stop it. Let's look at it from this way, not just the microscope of Green Bay. Look at their division right now. Minnesota is on their third quarterback, and they don't know if Bradford, Teddy Bridgewater, or who is it, Castle, is going to be their quarterback next week. They have no clue.
No, he's a Titan.
My point being is whoever the heck their quarterback is. Do you know what I'm saying? So they have three guys right now. They don't know who.
Somebody doesn't matter.
And they have a really good defense. But I'm saying, my point being is Minnesota is a wild card, right? You don't know if they're going to win the division or if they're going to end up losing for the. Okay. Chicago starting a rookie quarterback.
No.
Detroit just lost to New Orleans. My point being is
Detroit's definitely if there's a conversation, it's Detroit.
My point being is if you scope out of just Green Bay, because I'm with you what you're trying to say with Brett Hundley. My point being is say there's 10 games left.
Right.
Say they win 6 of those 10.
No.
They have 4 wins already.
It's not happening.
That's 10-6 in that division.
It's not happening.
You don't think they can win 6 of those games?
No.
Okay,
No.
All right.
No.
Not even against that.
We're really hoping that Hundley is
5-5's 9 wins.
Great, because it's not even like he could rely on a running game.
I understand that.
Or
I
defense.
understand that.
It's all on him.
I get that.
Unfortunately, I'm not wishing bad.
Okay, but 500.
Karma against the guy,
Can they
but
go
I don't see it
500?
happening.
You don't even think they go 500? If they go 500, that's 9 wins. Even 9 wins
That's
might
me
win
being
that.
polite, yes.
Okay, but if they win 9 wins, can that not be in that division again? In the division, because then they're not going to do anything. They make it to the first round of the playoffs to get rolled over.
I'd still put them number 2 behind Detroit.
Okay, now
and then you got to worry about whether or not Minnesota.
I'm not even
together.
getting to
So you're probably
they
2
might
or
win
3.
They might
At that
win.
point, you're 2 or 3.
Look, out of the next 10 games,
Right.
I wouldn't
You're
be
not-
shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they only win 2 games. I'm not
Right.
against what you're saying. I'm just trying to bring up the case scenario of the possibility. It really doesn't look that bad. Your season shouldn't just be over because of how bad that division is. You should not be looking at it your season's over, even though everyone absolutely is.
From their perspective, they're looking at it as we still got this, but
Because of what I was saying there.
Right.
But
I'm saying there's no chance in hell.
And a lot of people are saying that now.
There's no chance.
Other thought process. It'd be nice if there was like a quarterback out there that was working out like he was preparing to be a starting quarterback.
I can name a couple of them.
He actually played as a starting quarterback the last couple years in the league. It'd be so nice if you could just call a guy up and get him to
There's a guy that was in. It'd be so nice if somebody was a starting quarterback who was in a Super Bowl, almost won one.
Be just fantastic
so nice
if there
if
was
there
one
was-
just available, because that doesn't happen every week. So
It'd be so nice if there was another Hall of Famer that was available. It'd be so nice if there was another guy that was a commentator right now who's just chilling.
I heard Tony
There's like
Romo.
3
Were you talking about Tony
people.
Romo? Were you just talking about Tony? Because I heard Tony Romo did say.
I got 3 people.
Apparently, I heard from, and I don't know if it's true or not, but sources say that Tony Romo said to his agent he doesn't want to leave the the CBS gig because he feels like if he leaves it, Peyton Manning will just step right in, and CBS will absolutely jock him the way he jocks them. If he says to CBS, "Hey, I'm picking up and leaving," even if he tells them on a Tuesday and they got to go fill in their primetime game on Thursday, that's a problem. CBS is going to be mad, and then if Peyton Manning says, "I want to do this," they will go get him tomorrow. Do you know what I'm saying? So point being, and I know he was joking about probably Peyton Manning, but point being is Tony Romo has a point of if he leaves this, might not ever get this cushy position again.
Tony Romo's definitely was one of my first thoughts, and I thought it would be funny karma. I don't
think he's going to do it.
It's not.
And I think it'd be a bad idea for Tony
I just
Romo
think
in
it'd
the
be
sense
funny
of him
karma
if he
for the
did leave
Cowboys.
CBS. I understand that.
He would
I
go
agree
to
with
Green
that.
Bay and actually win.
Right.
I think that'd be funny karma, but it's not happening. So
we agree.
My other funny quarterback was Brett Favre. That's not happening either. The guy that we're actually having a conversation about has an afro, likes to take knees. I think he goes by the name of Colin Cowherd. No, Colin. What's his name? Starts with a. What letter does it start with? What's his last name? Justice? No.
Speaking of Colin Kaepernick, he is
Kaepernick.
filing a grievance against the league apparently for collusion. I don't think he can win it.
Oh, so he's not. So we're not even having an actual.
He's not going to be able to obviously picked by anybody.
We're just
Look, Green Bay would be a good spot for it because, look, Green Bay doesn't have an actual owner. Okay, their GM has to just worry about only doing things like winning. And their fan base is probably as close to a college fan base as you're going to get in the NFL, where they are following that Packers team through thick, thin, and anything. They don't care what's going on up in those offices as long as they're winning football games on the football field. That's all that Green Bay, that place lives and dies with their Packers. So if they have a shot at getting a guy like, just like we said, right now, his numbers last year would be 11th in the NFL this year. Everyone was telling us how bad he was of a quarterback. Everyone was telling us how he doesn't deserve to be a starting quarterback in this league, how it's not collusion, how it's not blackballed, how it's not this, how it's not that, how it has nothing to do with his stance. He would be the 11th quarter. If his stats today.
That's some shit. He's not better than, who's this guy that Green Bay starting?
He's much better than Brett Hundley. He's much better than Brett Hundley. And that's my absolute point here. Is that if you wanted to go win the Super Bowl and you feel like you're the rest of because you had Aaron Rodgers, so you feel like your team should be able to win the Super Bowl, right? Because the second you walk into any year, if you have Aaron Rodgers, you need to be building a team that's good enough to go win the Super Bowl, right? If you have Andrew Luck, you need to be building a team that's good enough to go win the Super Bowl, even though the Colts are absolutely showing us that they did not do that. And the Packers most likely are going to now show us that they did not do that.
Oh my goodness, the Packers are so exposed right now. We're going to see just how valuable Aaron. You want to talk about MVP? We're going to see how valuable Aaron Rodgers is.
Absolutely agree.
I promise you that.
Absolutely agreed.
As far as Kaepernick's concerned, I mean, his collusion thing. I mean,
he's not going to win that.
No, but shout out to him for doing that. I guess. Good luck finding evidence.
He's never going to get a job.
2, you're never going to get a job now. So
his
I mean,
career's over.
And maybe he's accepted that, which is
maybe that's the point of doing it. Yeah,
which is cool. Hopefully, I don't know. Obviously, he's been talking to somebody. Somebody says, I mean, we're saying he has no evidence. What the hell are you going to do? But clearly, somebody's in his ear saying you could probably win this. I don't see it.
I saw you favorited the tweet, and I forget who said it, but somebody said about submitting Blake Bortles' game tape this week as evidence towards that collusion.
It was, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. ESPN
person, right? Yeah,
basketball analyst.
So funny.
Not Phil Collins.
Nice.
What is his name? No, what is his name? Oh my goodness, isn't it Phil something? That's gonna bother me.
I don't know, but it was so funny.
Boston guy. Oh, it's gonna bother me.
Oh, Bill Simmons?
Yes, Bill Simmons, not Phil.
He's not at ESPN anymore.
Alright, whatever. Yeah, him. He said it. And I was like, I mean, he's right.
You're right, that's funny.
He's right.
So you brought up Zeke.
Yeah. Did I?
The more that case has been pulled out and talked about and dragged through the mud.
Can I just say something?
The more I'm starting to think that he most likely probably beat that girl.
That's ridiculous. But what I was going to say is the more this is drawn out, the less I'm caring about it. Like, can we just get it over with? That's a ridiculous stance on your part. I'm saying the more I hear about it is the more I'm just like, can we just get this over with? Like, I'm tired of this back and forth.
So,
and
from looking at it from before the case that they're looking at.
Stop.
Right.
There's no evidence against Zeke. we has not been brought forth. It's more so just Zeke counteracting everything, saying no, 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 and according to the law and everything that he's going against,
I don't know if the NFL
it sides
has a
with him
right-
saying right, no.
I don't know if the NFL has a right to do what they are doing, but I think that's a different conversation than did he actually do it, and it's starting to look like he actually, like the more...
It's not showing like, how is it looking like he's done it? There's been nothing new has come out.
I mean, she did not get any bruises from a bar fight where they were just pulling each other's hair, but she had bruises on her.
Since when? When does this come up? What are you talking about?
Apparently there was a bar fight, and she decided to say, and the police came to the bar fight.
There's been 2 police reports, but now there's bruises. Okay.
All right. I mean, I wasn't there. I'm not saying it's true, but I'm also not going to sit here and be naive to watching domestic abuse go across America. And I'm being 1,000% honest with you when I say that by everything I've heard and the more I've looked into this and the more I've read, because I was with you in the beginning of this, that I was like, even if he did it or not, in the beginning of this, what was my original stance was the NFL probably does not have a right to do what they are doing. So I still feel that way.
I'm still waiting. I mean, I can't go against 2 police reports. So I mean, I don't know.
But
I said since day one, let's time out. Rewind. I said since day one, if he's actually done this, it needs to be shit. It needs to be held accountable, and he needs to suffer whatever consequences come his way. But okay, now you're saying there's bruises, and whoever is saying there's bruises and there's.
They were saying there was a bar fight between her and another girl, and the police said that it was.
The 2 police reports don't show that.
I don't know.
My point at this point.
Because
I haven't even heard this nonsense. All I know is that it keeps going back and forth with the I'm suspended, I'm not suspended. They keep counteracting each other, and I'm just over it. At this point, I don't care. Not about the domestic thing. I just don't care about it.
No, I know.
Like either be suspended or don't be.
But what I'm trying to explain is what they're doing in the courts is different than actually trying to prove he was guilty or not. And the problem here is that we have a situation where he actually might be guilty or not, and they're going to, and they're fighting, everyone is fighting a whole different battle, and that's the ridiculous portion of this thing in the first place. In the NFL,
ridiculous.
But the NFL, do you think he should have appealed it the way he has for a second time now by taking it to the New York courts the way he did?
If he's as innocent as he claims he is, then yes.
But
I don't know if he is or not. But if that's me and I'm saying yes, I am 1,000% innocent, that I'm gonna keep fighting until you prove that I'm not innocent. Yes, I'm gonna keep fighting.
I think all he did by moving it to the New York courts was push it back even further because the Texas courts ruled in the favor of the NFL. Which, I mean,
that's my point. Which is I'm just exhausted by this.
Do you think? Okay, because
it sounds like actual evidence.
Because the more I look into it as well, is that it looks like the New York courts are probably just going to end up ruling in the side of the Texas courts, which means he's going to have to serve the suspension. Which, point being, is if he's going to end up having to do this, would you rather him do this now or later?
Now.
I agree. So him pushing this back the way he isn't going to help him because Tom Brady had more evidence on his side than Zeke does, and Tom Brady didn't win.
This goes back to my overall point, is that this whole thing is just exhausting. Whether he did it or not, we need concrete evidence that is factual and we can prove it, and there is none.
And not even just for you.
And it's been how long now? It's been a year and a half.
Not even just for you.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Not even just for you, for everybody, because I've literally just from hearing interview after interview after interview after interview after interview of hearing this. Did
he do it or not? Let's prove it or not.
I came to the conclusion of just by hearing all the interviews that I've heard and all the legal people I've heard talk about and all the things that they have said, I have came to the conclusion that from what it sounds like, he most likely was involved in domestic violence at some point, but probably well before what they are investigating. One, and number two of this. If he's going to just be suspended, which it sounds like he's going to, I think if I was him, I'd just take the suspension now.
And to my point, if I feel like I'm an innocent man and in my heart of hearts know that I am, then yes, I'm gonna keep fighting.
And look,
that's
and I say that by saying that I'm hearing all these legal people talk about it.
Until you prove that I am not an innocent man, I'm gonna keep fighting it. Yeah.
And like I said, it's just from me hearing a bunch of legal people talk about it and reading a couple articles here and there. I was not there. I do not know if he actually did it or not. I'm saying from what I've just heard. That's the information that I'm gathering.
Ask Nelly how it is.
And Nelly, absolutely. So you have it. Perfect example there where it sounds pretty legitimate of what's going on, and then she ends up just dropping it 4 days later. 4 days later,
I didn't think it sounded legitimate. I did not believe that for a second.
Well, no. So okay, hold on. But did you see all the pictures that were sent in afterwards? Because then there's all these pictures of it looks like, but it's not really like he was doing something wrong, and that's the worst part about this is that it was basically set up.
He was hollering at her, but he wasn't doing what she claimed initially.
And there was a lot of things that gets piled on by people sending pictures here and showing a picture of him doing this and him acting like this and him doing this. And it ends up just being an angle of this.
Yes, he was acting funky, but it wasn't what she claimed.
And point being is...
he was a clear man, and he fought it.
So,
Just saying. And then she moonwalked out of it because she said, "Oh wait, I don't want to testify."
Right.
I didn't believe it for a second. I'm just saying. And I don't believe.
I'm saying you could see where it was believable on the sense of all the evidence that was getting thrown on the.
I'll tell you what, there was more evidence against Nelly than there is against Zeke or Elliott out there. I'm just saying. And even that, I said, I don't think Nelly did anything outside of what I think he did, which was hollering at a girl and, went whatever way it went, but it didn't go that far. I'm just saying.
The Chargers have 2 wins now, back-to-back weeks. Oakland had...
Stop picking them. What is, like...
I picked them last week and they won.
Stop it.
I didn't.
Stop it.
I knew Carr was going to come back because that back is.
Just keep picking them, then go to the Super Bowl.
I don't want that. Do you think Carr is going to get it back at any point?
Yeah. Why not?
It was just rust, week 1 type thing, first time off of an injury.
People are on this Raiders suck kick right now, which again, pump the brakes, let's relax and see what happens. Let's get Carr back in there and let him relax and get it back together. Let's get. Well, they need to get the ball to Marshawn a little more, but maybe they will.
I saw a funny Marshawn for his he has a Bleacher Report show, and
why?
It's just putting him in situations that you wouldn't normally put Marshawn Lynch in and seeing how he reacts. Basically, it's actually really funny. But I saw a promo for it, and the one was they were talking about ideas for things to do on the show, and the one was. How about we play you against Serena Williams in a tennis match? And he said, he goes, nah, that's unfair. And the girl goes, why? Because she's pregnant, or because she's almost 9 months pregnant. And he goes, no, Mo, because that's Serena Williams.
He's not lying.
I love Marshawn Lynch, man. He's one of my favorite people ever.
It's so factual. It's not fair.
So before we get into picks for the NFL this week,
did we talk about Adrian Peterson?
Would you like to talk about Adrian Peterson?
I would love to talk about Adrian Peterson.
All right. I thought he wasn't going to do anything, even with the Cardinals. I was dead wrong.
I didn't think he was going to do anything this week.
What, almost 18 carries or 19 carries, 150-some yards, 2 touchdowns. And the Cardinals beat Tampa Bay. So, okay.
And the Saints won, too, so it's like...
Before we get into whatever you want to talk about... Right, the Saints won, too. Before we want to...
That's all I want to talk about.
All right, well, then I have a quick question for you before we move on. Me and you both, said about how, well, wouldn't it just make sense for him to take the less money and go to New England? Remember when he was talking about going to New England last year? Right. And we kept saying about that. Wouldn't he have just been what he was in New Orleans with New England? Don't they run the same kind of offense? They were never going to give him the ball 18 times a game. They don't give anybody the ball 18 times a game.
No. He'd have got a little... I think he would have got a little more.
You think
especially right now, yeah.
Do you think he would have gotten the 130 yards, 140 yards that he got, though? Ever? I don't think they ever give him the ball 18 times. I think that's my bigger thing, is he needs the ball 18 times, 16 to 15 to 20 times in a game, right?
He would have definitely got it more than he did in New Orleans.
Do you think he would have gotten it 15 times in a game, though? I don't think he ever gets the ball 15. I don't think any running back.
Maybe.
But, okay. Maybe. But 1 out of 16, is it worth it for him? Or does he end up just being angry like he was in New Orleans?
Does he get a Super Bowl? He will never be as angry as he was in New Orleans.
That's true, because he got
it 3 times a game.
So, I was just curious about that. I was just, because I was thinking in my head about how, wow, let's see, if it went that bad in New Orleans, what if he gets used the same way in New England? Is he this angry? Do they trade it? All that kind of stuff. Anyways, shout out to him, though. He ended up having a great game.
Joke's on New Orleans, except they won, so joke's on...
All right, so quickly...
Who?
Nobody,
apparently. Everybody won. New Orleans got a pick
Actually,
out of
if they're only going to get a 6th-round pick out of it, then I would say Arizona wins.
I guess so.
Basketball starts this week. LeBron's 15th year in the league. It's probably going to be Golden State versus Cleveland.
So this is last year? Yes.
No. It's probably going to be Golden State versus Cleveland in the finals. That's about as far as we need to preview that. But I do want to talk about, everyone talks about the Lakers making the playoffs this year. The Lakers are your team.
No.
Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
No.
So I was thinking about this.
If it's anything, it's
an 7th, 8th seed, 6th seed, maybe.
6 through 8 seed.
Well, you know Portland holds...
You can make the argument for it, but outside of that, no.
You know Portland holds a 6th or 8th seed down. You know the Grizzlies are going to fight for that as well with the Lakers. I would think Sacramento...
Right. Sacramento, no.
You know, we were talking earlier because we named a bunch of teams. I think Sacramento's going to be better than you think, but we named a bunch of teams earlier. We didn't name Minnesota Timberwolves to each other. That's a wild card that I think that can make it because of the... with Jimmy Butler, Wiggins, and all that.
Yeah.
So... And obviously OKC, Golden State, the top.
It's a 6 to 8
Clippers.
seed conversation, but I need everybody to relax as long as the ball. Apparently, tickets for the Lakers home games are out of this world, which I need these people to pump the brakes. Like what? Like this is what I'm saying. This is what I keep talking about. Everybody needs to relax. What if Lonzo ends up sucking? Then how foolish does everybody look outside of me? Because I said, calm down.
It would suck because I've been talking about this guy since beginning of last basketball season.
At this point, I don't even know what a win is for him. I don't even know what a win is for him
in
at this
January,
point.
when his dad started talking all this stuff, he blew up and everyone talked about him. And I was saying, well, pump the brakes because the kid's a good basketball player. And now here we are.
This is stupid.
People are legitimately rooting against him just because.
Yes.
And that sucks because I am still rooting for Lonzo because you know me, literally since before any of this, before his dad, before all that, I was talking about how I thought he was the best player in college basketball last year.
This guy's gonna be clowned until he becomes
till he turns 20, 21,
until he
22.
becomes a top 3, 4 freaking player in the league.
So you said you want to talk about
that's what's going to be the situation. They're going to keep dogging him as they should.
He might never be a top 3 or 4 player in the
Well,
league. He might be a top 10 point guard one day because I think he has the skill set to absolutely be a top 10 point guard one day.
He better be a top 3 point guard.
I think he has the skill set to be a top 5 point guard, and I'm not saying he can't be a top 3 point guard. I think he's absolutely.
I just need everybody to pump the brakes because if he ends up sucking, everybody's going to look stupid.
I think he's actually one of the few people that can still play point guard in a valuable way because I don't value point guards. I think he would be a valuable point guard in an unvaluable position.
At this point, because people refuse to freaking answer this question outside of he needs to have his name in the rafters, which again,
that's
freaking relax. So what is a successful career for him? Because I can't define it. At this point, to me apparently it's anything.
Better than Eric Snow?
That's not because they're in a hype.
That's what I'm saying. Better.
That does.
Jeff Teague.
That doesn't take anything.
How about Lowry? Does he have to be as good as John Wall?
Yeah.
John Wall might have his name in the rafters one day though. The way he's playing.
He needs to be Lowry, Wall to have a successful career as far as I'm concerned.
So like, Rodger doesn't cut it.
No. No, not at all.
Ricky Rubio?
Considering the hype, I hope he's Ricky Rubio, just so I can come back and say I fucking told y'all.
You love Ricky Rubio.
I don't hate Ricky Rubio.
What did you want to say about the Sixers?
I'm just tired of Joel Embiid type.
I mean, you know how I feel about it.
Let's all just calm down on Joel Embiid. He's
you know
not a Hall of Famer either.
You know how
he's
I'm
very
excited.
good. As you should, because you've had nothing to cheer for 10 years, 15 years. I get it, but at the same time, let's pump the brakes on him. He's not a Hall of Famer either. He's very good, and we were talking about the whole contract situation, but I mean, he played 5 games. I'm exaggerating. Relax. He only played so many games, and you justify giving him all that money. It's kind of funny in a way. Let's just all pump the brakes on him. And everybody lost their mind over that preseason game when it was like, okay, yeah. Well, did you see his ratio? It was like, yeah, he had a good game, and it was in the preseason, and it was against this team. Like, who cares? Let's see him play 70 games in the season and ball out. Other than that, chill. Like, he's a good guy. He's funny. I think he's going to be a good player if he can actually stay out there a la Whiteside, which, again, I don't understand why Whiteside was wrong. He wasn't. I hope he freaking plays.
I think, as I said last week, the obvious downside of the contract...
He's not a Hall of Famer. Let's just chill.
The obviously downside of the contract would be if he got hurt and didn't play that much. But the obvious upside...
That's ridiculous.
But my point being is the obvious upside of the contract is if he is as good as these people are all saying, because you were talking about how he is getting extremely hyped up, you would think in the next 3 years he could be an MVP caliber candidate, and this is an extremely cheap deal for an MVP caliber candidate. So my point being was that the contrast of how bad it could be, it also could be that good. But you know me, I'm in the middle.
Philadelphia, what ifs?
I just want to see them as a team put it together. I'd like to see him be as good as they're talking about, but I would like to see them. I would like to see Simmons, Fultz, him, Dario, and Covington all together.
Let's pump the brakes and see what happens.
Get some wins. Make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, let's
see him be the leader of the team.
See them play 10 games.
My point is, yeah, right, and have him be the leader of a team that does get them to that step. That would be what I'm, as a Sixers fan, I'm looking for.
Just pump the brakes on him and the team in general. More so him, because the hype on him it's gotten a lot more real recently. And
as a Sixers fan, it hasn't gotten any more real for me because I've heard it nothing since draft day. I've heard nothing but what you're hearing right now. I understand what you're saying because it has leaked into the media, into the national media now. But as a Sixers fan, I've been hearing this since day one.
Kevin Love was great too in Minnesota.
Baseball.
I'm just saying.
It's hard doing a weekly podcast that the podcast gets up not in real time, which is how I like doing it for our football segment because it kind of gives everything a second to breathe and then we get to kind of throw everything on to you. But it does make it a little difficult.
Y'all don't want us to have a live show.
Maybe one day.
You don't want that.
Point being, baseball.
You don't want that.
As of right now, the Yankees and the Astros are playing in Game 4 as of this broadcast, and the series is 2-1 Astros. The first two games was incredibly dominated by pitching, even though how deep the Astros are hitting-wise, but they got clutch hits when they needed to. They went up 2-0, and then they lost 8-0, I think, in Game 3. Aaron Judge hit a 3-run home run, and then he actually hit another home run, but they were down 4-1 late in the game that we were before we started this broadcast. In the other series, the Dodgers were up 2-0 with Game 3 slated to be played tonight. I was rooting for the Astros and the Dodgers, as I said before going into this. Last week when we talked, we didn't know if the Indians or the Yankees were going to win. I just do want to say that the Yankees manager went from being down 0-2 and losing his job Saturday morning to winning a series. It was very impressive. Shout out to him and his team for that. Even if they don't beat the Astros, that was incredibly impressive what they did.
Sounds like back to our original point. Pump the brakes. Relax. That's the theme of this whole show.
Also, baseball in general, the playoffs have been super underrated. This has been very fun playoffs this year for baseball. I've enjoyed watching as much baseball as I have. Outside of really the show, I've basically watched almost every game or at least listened to every inning, so that's been pretty awesome. And I think it's been very good. And I even, in the Game 5, the Eagles game was playing at the same time as Game 5 of Chicago and Washington. And I had Washington and Chicago up on a little laptop, so I got to watch that as well. Speaking of, real quick, before we move on from baseball, you know me. I look at these players and even my rivals as a little bit. I have a little more heart towards those kind of things. Like I don't just dog everybody. I don't even just dog the Cowboys. I do want to throw like a small little jab at the Nationals.
Because they're overrated. Hot garbage.
They've never won a playoff series since they moved back to Washington. It's 2017. They moved back in 2008.
You realize I graduated high school in 2008?
They made the playoffs in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2017. No, they missed in 2015 and made 2016, 2017. Either way, point being, they made it 5 times in the last 6 years.
Sounds like overrated garbage.
And they have never won one of those series. As a Phillies fan, it is awesome because that's what you get for overpaying Worth. That's what you get for going after Papelbon. And Bryce Harper is a free agent. And, I mean, look, I don't have it on good authority because I'm not, like, close to these people. But everything I'm reading is he's done with that franchise and he's out.
You blame at this point?
No, not at all. If he leaves, though, because, look, Strasburg doing what he did in Game 4 to make it Game 5 against, he solidified everything. Strasburg being that guy at that time to pitch the game that he pitched in Chicago, the way he did to bring it back to Washington, to give them the opportunity that they had, it solidified everything that franchise did to that point because, man, they were getting questioned from their own fans of, like, what are we doing here? Right. And then they go and do what they did in Game 5 and not win it. They lose 9-7. I mean, it's
horrible. It's embarrassing.
If you lose Bryce Harper, I don't see Strasburg signing the year after. It just turns into a really...
Going back to garbage.
And you turn into the Expos again, who had to move because they lost their fan attendance.
So Washington's moving again, huh?
I hope not. I kind of want to keep seeing them make playoffs and miss. And I don't do that. I'm not that guy. But
yes,
man,
you are.
Today I am. It feels so good to be that guy right now.
Like you're not. You're like that against them. You're like that against the Cowboys. As much as you act like you ain't. You act like that against the Celtics. Like knock it off. Yes, you are. You are that guy. Stop putting on this front. Yes, you are.
But you know how I actually feel for the players. I actually do feel for a guy like Strasburg, for a guy like Harper, for a guy like
Bump all that. We're talking about the franchises.
Turner.
Bump all that. Fuck all that. Am I not correct?
Yeah, it's fun to watch
All right,
those
shut up.
logos
Knock it
go
off.
the
Knock it off.
wrong
You are
way.
that guy.
As
You
it-
hate the Celtics. You hate the
damn
Nationals.
Celtics.
You hate the Penguins.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Knock it off.
But the Celtics and Penguins haunt me, man. They're always good.
Knock it off. You enjoy them.
Same with USC. So,
Number 4. That's
What-
number 1 in that list. But
I want to do some picks.
yeah.
How'd you do last week, Dwight?
Actually, I don't want to do any picks.
I only went 7-7, and it was bad.
Dude, this is the worst I've done in 3 years. 5-9.
I'm 60-31.
This is why nobody watches the show. That D and JD Sports sucks.
I mean,
Boo.
I only went 7-7, bro.
That's 500.
I'm 60-31 on the year.
54-37.
Well, you're not
That's
too
garbage.
far behind me.
Too far around.
Big Thursday night game.
Yeah. I'm just got to start making stupid picks apparently. In order to
I'm
catch
taking
up.
Kansas City to beat Oakland, even though Carr came back last week. He has 1 game under his belt. I don't know. I don't trust Oakland's defense.
No.
And the way Kansas City, their only loss is to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That was the only
No.
offensive game that they didn't put a ton of points on the board.
Yeah.
They still, in the end of the game, was getting their wheels together. All the arrows point to Kansas City, which would make you say the way the NFL is pick Oakland, but I'm still going to take
The
Kansas
way
City.
NFL is in 2017, yeah, definitely.
Right.
I will Kansas City. I'm not confident that it should be a good game. It should be an excellent
I hope
game.
it's the third straight good Thursday night game.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, NFL.
We didn't even talk about this.
What's that?
The Jets ruling. You didn't see it, did you? Oh man. Okay,
I
so
don't know anything
the
about
most
the Jets.
controversial probably play all season. I didn't. I. This is totally my fault. JD Sports. This is my fault to all the fans.
I think I know. Yeah, no.
The Patriots Jets game.
Yeah.
There was an absolute ridiculous fumble ruling that gave the
That's
Jets
what it is. That's
that
the
took
rule.
a touchdown away from the
Yes,
the
that's the
Jets.
rule.
No, but this is not. This would be
That's
like.
what it is.
Look, this is
what it
this is
is.
this is me. I'm running.
That's the
I'm running.
rule.
I drop it, and it goes into this hand, but it's in the goal line. Guess whose pen it is now? It's your pen now. How does that work, Dwight? How does it go from here to my other hand, and now it's Dwight's pen? Dwight's sitting over here, but in the NFL, nope. That's Dwight's pen. I'm literally, for the people listening on SoundCloud, I'm dropping it from my left hand to my right hand and catching it.
Yep.
And Dwight's just sitting here. He didn't touch the pen once.
Yep.
But it's yours. According to the NFL,
It's a stupid rule.
your boy Rodger Goodell,
First of all, he's not my boy.
that's your pen.
I don't have anything to say about it. It's a mess. Hey, it's one of those stupid rules, dude. What can you say?
Shout out to Vegas running
I
everything.
don't like it.
Shout
I
out to
don't
Vegas-
like it,
Shout
but
out to Vegas running
that's
everything.
what the hell it is.
Shout out to Vegas running everything. That's what kept the point spread in the New England's direction, and they won and covered.
That's why you're beating me in the season.
The Jets, speaking of taking on Miami, who are you taking in this one?
Oh,
I had a hard time with this one. I had such a hard time with this one. I do not like what I picked at all.
I have the trash can. What's that?
The Jets?
Yeah, the trash can.
The Dolphins. I picked the Jets, and I do not feel confident. So we both don't feel confident in what we did.
No,
that makes me feel a little better about
I
this.
just picked Jay Cutler's. Nah,
I like Jay Cutler better than I like anybody on the Jets.
just picked Jay
And I
Cutler.
still pick the Jets.
This is probably the only time this year I'll pick Jay Cutler.
Carolina taking on the hot Chicago team. They won in overtime in Baltimore.
You mean hot mess? Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers as well. I think Cam has a really good game in Chicago.
I hope so.
He's always played good in Chicago.
Because they're always garbage.
Tennessee put up 33 points last week, 20 plus in the second half. They're taking on Cleveland.
They went from one hot-ass mess team to another. Well, even worse.
Does Cleveland win a game this year?
No, I got Tennessee.
I got Tennessee too. The way it looks, Cleveland probably won't win a game this year.
The way it looks, they'll win this game.
The way it works. Jacksonville taking on Jacoby Brissett in the Indianapolis Colts. He's played really well, but the rest of the team has not.
No.
Jacksonville's defenses look good. Leonard Fournette has looked good. Blake Bortles hasn't looked good.
Yeah, they played a tough game against the Rams last week and lost, but I think they'll definitely bounce back a little bit and be a little better. They're definitely better than Colts.
I'm taking them to win as well. We both take Jacksonville. Tampa Bay taking on Buffalo. This was a really tough one to pick as well.
Yeah, this was hard.
But it's going to be a tough week.
I'm going with Buffalo. I'm not confident in that.
This is my last chance for the Bucks. I'm taking them. If they don't win this one, I'm probably going to jump off the bandwagon. But this is one that they
this is
can
a hard
bounce
one,
back
yeah.
and show you again. The
The Bills are so fickle. No
Bills
matter
right.
how good their defense, quote unquote, is or whatever.
You don't know what you're going to get from them.
Right.
Baltimore taking on Minnesota. Nobody knows who Minnesota's quarterback's going to be.
I took Minnesota.
I took Minnesota as well. Their defense is extremely well, and it doesn't seem to matter who their quarterback is.
The Ravens are a hot ass mess.
Their offense has not moved the ball that well at all this season.
No, they're horrible.
Arizona taking on the Rams. Arizona coming off a big week. Adrian Peterson.
This is slightly challenging. I went with LA.
I went with the Rams as well. I don't think Adrian Peterson's going to be able to run on that front seven the way he was able to run on Tampa Bay's front seven.
No.
New Orleans taking on Green Bay. This game took a drastic turn up in Lambeau this week.
Yeah, this is a hell of a pick'em game, isn't it? The only thing to go with is Breezes. I went with the Saints.
New Orleans defense
It's in Green Bay,
is
but
really bad anywhere they play, but they're 10 times worse on the road. I'm still taking New Orleans because you don't know what Green Bay's team's going to look like.
You got one kind of short thing, and that's Breezes. You got to go with the Saints.
Dallas getting a good week to bounce back off of their bye and a couple rough weeks of playing football. They're taking on San Francisco.
Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas as well. I think if Zeke...
because the 49ers are so garbage, it doesn't matter who plays.
I think
it doesn't matter who the running back is.
I think if Zeke does play, which he will, he'll have a big day. I think Dak's going to have a big day. I think their offensive together is going to have a groove, and I think Dallas wins.
49ers usually are a little tighter than
Look, they were down 17-0 in Washington this week. They came the whole way back. They actually took the lead 24-21 at one point and almost won that game. So they did play better in the second half this week than you expect. And going against a bad Dallas defense, you might think they might go out and shoot out.
It's usually a little funky against the Cowboys.
They can't keep up with Dallas.
You would think so.
Denver taking on the Chargers. Denver's going to be on their backup quarterback. I had a really hard time with this one.
Yeah, I'm sure because you're on this hot streak of picking the Chargers, and I'm on this hot streak of not picking them. And ever since they've been winning, I had the Broncos, which means you probably picked the Chargers, which means they got another W. Huh?
I picked the Broncos as well, but I did not.
So they're finally getting that L now.
I had a hard time with that one.
You're not picking your team, your squad.
Cincinnati taking on Pittsburgh.
No, that's fine. Ugh. I went Pittsburgh.
I went Pittsburgh too. I don't think Cincinnati's all that good.
I'm going with Diva.
Seattle taking on the now one-win Giants.
Seattle.
I took Seattle as well, coming off the bye. The Giants just took a bad team by surprise.
Giants relax. Have that seat, Giants.
A rematch of the Super Bowl. Atlanta coming off a bad week, probably getting Julio Jones and Sanu back, though, going to play New England in New England. New England's defense has given up over 340 yards of passing every single week this year.
I think it'll be hilarious if the Falcons get this W.
They're going to play Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan could put up 340 easily.
Against anybody, especially against that team.
The way they have.
It's prime time.
Josh McCown just put up 340 on them.
That's embarrassing. I picked the Patriots.
I picked the Patriots too.
Just because I refuse to go against Brady.
Tom Brady. Gronk is playing out of his mind. I watched that game on Sunday. Gronk played extremely well in that. Their offense is moving the ball pretty well. I'm taking New England.
This sounds like one of those games where Brady just puts up 4 touchdowns in the first half, and it's like, oh. It just has the makings of, let me show you who the alpha actually is.
Monday Night Football. Carson Wentz
Ugh.
taking on Kirk Cousins in Philadelphia.
Ugh.
I'm just excited to listen to John Gruden talk about Carson Wentz for 3 hours.
That's all he's going to do.
I hope.
What else is there to talk about?
Who are you taking?
So gross.
Washington's been a surprise. Played better than expected. 4-2. Or no, 3-2.
Philadelphia is definitely a better team. They were definitely in a more consistent situation. You have to pick Philadelphia.
Also, coming from a Thursday night game to the Monday night game, they have a lot more rest. I'm going to take Philly as well. I think it's going to be a better game than people expect. I'm hoping it's not. I'm all about the Eagles, obviously, this week. So,
yeah.
One last thing before we close the show out to White.
What's that?
My Fighting Irish play USC this week. Nerve-wracking week. I'm taking my Irish. I'm hoping.
Oh, shocking. You went way out there, didn't you?
Go Irish. Good luck.
I'm not that guy that hates certain teams. I'm not that guy.
FUSC.
I'm just saying.
Sam Darnold's so good, man. I'm afraid he's going to tear up our defense. As good as Notre Dame's defense is, I'm really afraid Sam Darnold's going to tear him up. He's a really good quarterback.
That's him trying to cover up his FUSC comment.
Wimbush is back. He's going to be healthy, so I'd like to see the offense move the ball a little bit. The receivers, man, it's going to be all on them actually stepping up this week. Primetime game in South Bend, under the lights.
You're not covering it.
Go Irish.
You're not covering it.
Penn State plays Michigan this week as well if you want to watch some other college football.
I'm good.
Dwight, till next week.
Yes, sir. Peace out.